There was a time when Hooters wasn't just another restaurant. It was one of the most recognizable brands in America. Bright orange signs, packed parking lots, wall-to-wall sports, and restaurants filled with people almost every night. For millions of Americans, Hooters wasn't simply a place to eat. It was where friends watched football, where families stopped during road trips, where weekends often began. At its peak, Hooters operated more than 400 restaurants across the United States and expanded into dozens of countries around the world. The brand became one of the biggest names in casual dining. For years, it looked untouchable. But today, something feels very different. Drive past many Hooters locations, and you'll notice something unusual. Parking lots that once overflowed with cars now sit half empty. Some restaurants have reduced their hours. Others have quietly closed their doors forever. In several cities, longtime locations have disappeared without much attention. No nationwide announcement, no dramatic headlines. Just another familiar restaurant quietly fading away. So, what happened? How did one of America's most famous restaurant chains end up fighting to survive? The answer isn't just about chicken wings, and it isn't just about the waitresses. It's about something much bigger. Because over the last decade, America changed, people changed, and the restaurant business changed even faster. For decades, Hooters built its entire identity around one simple formula: sports, beer, chicken wings, and an experience customers couldn't find anywhere else. It worked incredibly well. During the 1980s, the 1990s, and even the early 2000s, Hooters became a cultural icon. Movies mentioned it. TV shows joked about it. Tourists wanted to visit it. The orange owl logo became instantly recognizable across the country. But success in the restaurant business doesn't last forever. Every generation chooses restaurants for different reasons. What worked 20 years ago doesn't always work today. That's exactly where Hooters began facing its biggest challenge. The company didn't suddenly become unpopular overnight. Instead, customers slowly stopped making it their first choice. Younger generations were looking for something different: modern sports bars, craft breweries, local restaurants. And delivery apps completely changed how Americans spent their evenings. People no longer needed to visit a sports bar just to watch the game. Every NFL game, every NBA game, every UFC event could now be streamed at home. Large televisions became cheaper. Food delivery became faster. Watching sports moved from restaurants to living rooms. That single change quietly removed one of Hooters' biggest advantages. And that was only the beginning. Competition became stronger every single year. Buffalo Wild Wings expanded aggressively. Twin Peaks attracted sports fans with a newer concept. Local sports bars offered better atmospheres and more flexible menus. Even restaurants that had nothing to do with sports started competing for the same customers. At the same time, food delivery changed everything. Years ago, if someone wanted chicken wings for the game, they usually drove to a restaurant. Today, they open an app. Within minutes, wings arrive at the front door. The restaurant no longer owns the experience. It only prepares the food. That shift completely changed the casual dining industry. But Hooters faced another challenge that many people never noticed. Its identity had become difficult to reinvent. The image that made the brand famous during the 1980s didn't connect with younger customers in quite the same way. New generations weren't looking for the same restaurant experience. They cared more about food quality, interior design, convenience, and the overall atmosphere. Meanwhile, operating a restaurant became far more expensive. Chicken prices increased. Labor costs climbed. Insurance became more expensive. Utility bills kept growing. Every month, restaurant owners had to spend more money just to keep the doors open. Unfortunately, customer traffic wasn't growing at the same speed. For many franchise owners, profits became smaller every year. Some locations were still busy. Others barely made enough money to survive. Eventually, the weakest restaurants became impossible to justify. One location closed, then another, then another. That's why Hooters didn't disappear all at once. It slowly became smaller. Fewer restaurants, fewer customers, a smaller footprint across America. The interesting part is that many people still like Hooters. Its wings still have loyal fans. But recognition alone doesn't guarantee success. Restaurants don't survive because people remember them. They survive because people keep choosing them. And that's where Hooters began losing ground. Every weekend, millions of Americans decide where to eat. Sometimes that decision takes less than 30 seconds. A quick search on a phone, a recommendation from an app, a restaurant that's closer, a place with better reviews. One small decision doesn't seem important, but millions of those decisions eventually reshape an entire business. That's exactly what happened to Hooters. Not one massive mistake, but thousands of tiny customer choices repeated every single day. Today, Hooters still operates restaurants across America. The company hasn't disappeared, but it no longer feels like the unstoppable brand it once was. The crowded parking lots, the long waiting lines, the excitement that surrounded the brand decades ago. Much of it has quietly faded away. Perhaps that's the biggest lesson behind Hooters. Businesses rarely disappear because people suddenly stop liking them. They disappear because people slowly stop thinking about them. And once a brand disappears from everyday habits, the store closures usually come next. That's how an American icon slowly fades away. Not with one dramatic ending, but one empty table at a time.